Hey there everyone, Luke here, and once again I apologise for this review being out incredibly late. I know we've only got 2 days until the next chapter comes out, but yeah, this week I've just been really tired, been focusing on other things, and got some exciting stuff planned for next week, which involves me going to meet someone about a script that I wrote. So looking forward to doing that. But yeah, that's all I say. Like I said, once again, apologise for this review's being late, but we're here now, and we're going to talk. We're going to talk about this chapter right here, right now. Okay, so this will be chapter 243, titled Tile versus Asa, and this is why I was reluctant, kind of, to do the review, or kind of I was pushing it back, because literally most of this chapter is just the fight with Asa, so there's not much pages of dialogue, pretty much for the first half. So I probably would find it incredibly hard to talk about it, but gonna try my best as always. So anyway, the chapter starts off with a colour page featuring Tayo with Alpha and Hiyofumi going, I assume it's bug collecting, which Gandaria Sensei must be a fan of Pokemon, since the creator of Pokemon, that was all based around i.e. create Pokemon because of his obsession with book collecting. So hey, if that's the case, good on you, Gandaria. Good on you for being with Pokemon. But yeah, so like I said, most of the first half of this chapter is just Tail taking action to take down Asa, as we get the recap of the events from the last chapter, where Nanano got the heart, got the fragment from Mozu, and now it's just, okay, Tail, we've got the whole fragments, they've all been taken out, now you've got to take down Asa now. Just take that action, as we see Tail just sprinting. So like, he gets himself ready, he's just building himself up and everything, and then he just dives right into Asa, who okay, it's kind of a little bit confusing. Oh, no. What am I talking about? It's not confusing. So he dives right into Asa. Asa blocks with his arms like that. So he does the defensive pose, and the just shockwave is just it's just immediate. So Tile goes to punch Asa. Asa blocks up, and it's just right across the arena. Which, hey, give Gondalia credit, even though there's not much in terms of dialogue to talk about with this chapter, the action is pretty intense, and it's really building up the fact okay, Asa is going to be a tough opponent to take down, and we will get further emphasis on that when we get to the end of the chapter. And okay, I'm a complete idiot because I forgot that we've got a flashback coming up, which I thought was a bit further along in the chapter, but no, it's only about 5 pages in. So anyway, getting back to the fight. So as Tile just goes to punch Asa, and he's just blocking Tile's punch. It's still Tao's still strong enough to really force Asa back a bit, as we see the punch make contact, and then Asa's just falls back, trying to keep his balance throughout all of this. And okay, there is a moment here. Okay, I assume Asa uses a blooming ability to make a I want to say a rock formation to defend himself against Tile's attack. But anyway, we have Tile saying to himself oh, those were Nano's fireworks a minute ago. That would be the signal to keep going, as we cut away from the battle to the flashback of everyone just being okay, we know our objective is to take down Asa, so this is the plan that we're going with here. So let's review over it. Asa ship, the behemoth, is protected by our communications jammer that will be difficult for us to crack, so we should assume that communication between the inside and the outside will be impossible. So once someone gets in to the behemoth, it'll be impossible to be okay, what is going on in there? What is actually going on in there? Yeah, we won't, communication error. So we've got to make sure that we're all perfectly coordinated for this frontal assault between Asa and his family. And Asa, considering the order forms that I found in most of the slides before we split, I think it's safe to say that Asa is using Momo's blooming dreams, which is what Nano comes to the conclusion of, like, okay, so the reason why communication would be blocked off when we get inside the behemoth is because the entire interior of the behemoth will be enveloped by Momo's blooming of dreamings, which makes perfect sense. So this makes total sense of why Tao is the only one that can actually go inside there, because once you go into the perimeter of dreamings, you are under the influence, unless you're Tao and you have all these abilities that basically counter the blooming of dreamings. And yeah, Shion says that, oh, it's an aerial blooming and it affects can cover the whole ship. So we take one step inside of it, we lose instantly. We fall under Asa's control here. And Tao brings up, like, okay, so I'm the one that should be able to go in here because as I said, Tao has the ability, has the counters to the dreaming ability. So it doesn't work on him thanks to Subumi's blood, and he can put himself in a position where he can just face Asa one-on-one. But then we have we have his eyes being covered. So we have him talking about, like, oh, I'll be able to face Asa head on. Then we have his eyes covered as you see Mutsumi and Koricho, and they're both looking directly at Tao, and you can obviously tell what Mutsumi is thinking, like, oh, that's really a bad idea. And Koricho's being, like, with Koricho, you can never tell half the time of what he's actually thinking, but I think it's along the lines of, like, yeah, that may be true that he can bypass Dad's blooming ability, but at the same time, is it really wise to send Tao in there alone? And yeah, I feel like that is what Koricho is actually thinking of, just being like, is it wise to send Tao in there alone? Part of him probably wishing, like, okay, yeah, maybe we should send Tao in, because then we can get him out of the way and I can have the family all to myself. But yeah, Koricho, like I said, obviously thinks of Tao as family, even though he's completely tsundere about it. So he's obviously thinking about Tao's safety in this regard. And of course, Koricho brushes off his feelings about the whole situation by going, my oh my, aren't you the confident one? Do you truly think you can win at Tao? And we have probably the funniest bit in the chapter here, where we have Keigo and Shion being like, oh yeah, Tao, it would suck if you really did die, but Koricho dying, yeah, that's a totally different matter. So it's kind of a parallel to how when Ayaka was first introduced and she was getting, like, all this information from Koricho, and Koricho was like, oh yeah, Tao, yeah, you can do whatever you want with him. It's kind of like the opposite going on here, where it's like, oh, Tao, we don't want you to, like, Koricho on the other hand, yeah, we can get rid of him, and if anyone's going to die from this, make it Koricho. And everyone's just like, yeah, no objectors here, as we see Koricho just going after Shion and Keigo, like, get back here, you brats. Well, Koricho, you kind of deserve what's coming to you when you've been acting like this throughout the whole series. But moving back to the conversation itself, Tao's just like, okay, getting aside me versus Asa, there's still one more other concern, as Nano basically confirms that, yeah, given the bit of Mozu's research I managed to get a peek at, it's likely Asa didn't just make the 4 siblings to be his soldiers. He probably had another purpose for them. That there's the fact that she had absolutely zero data on you, Tao, and there is unnatural, and that's unnatural, extremely so. So, in my opinion, Asa wants you for something, Tao. So he intends to use you. So you best use exercise extreme caution when going up against Asa in this situation. As we again cut back to Koricho having a funny moment with Shinzo, where Shinzo just has his brain on it, has his arms on Koricho's head and probably crushing him right now, as Koricho's just like, oh, you're truly a fascinating Guan Tao. While you aren't true Yozakura, like, in the sense you were born into the Yozakura family, you were essentially married into it, you still have all these unique abilities, and Shinzo, throughout all of this, is just, like, crushing Koricho's skull, and it's just like, Okay, Shinzo, you can kind of stop that by now. So yeah, pretty funny moments, funny interactions between Creature and the other siblings in this chapter, and it doesn't stop. So Creature on the next page is just like, "I said you could stop. This is okay. This is getting too much, Shinzo. Please stop it right now." Before Keigo says, "That doesn't mean that Tayo barging in there is exactly what he wants. So it's obviously going to be a trap if ever we saw one in this situation." And they're actually pretty much scared at this point. Like Mutsumi is the most scared. Like, "Don't Tayo, don't do this, don't do this. I forbid you from going in there. There's a scary, and Nano says, "Oh, that's a scary look you've got, Mutsumi, right there." And it is a pretty scary look, like one of the scariest looks of Mutsumi, of just being like sheer worry for her husband and the fact that he may actually die during this situation. So Tayo continues to reassure Mutsumi of just like, no, Mutsumi, it's okay, it'll be fine. Asa may have a plan for me, and he may think he has a plan for me, but that doesn't mean I don't have a plan for him. So everyone's just like, "Oh, you're plotting something, aren't you?" And Tao basically confirms that, "Yes, I am." As we cut back to the fight between Tao and Asa after the fight, before he says like, "Oh, if you all listen, please," which is what ends the flashback, and it continues on throughout the fight. As we're seeing the fight, as we get glimpses of Momo, possibly from the message that he was saying to Tayo, of just being like, no matter how many abilities Asa throws at you, don't let him distract you. He's a Yozakura, that means there's only one target for you to aim at, which is his heart. So I guess that song, shot through the heart, anyone. Which, yeah, basically that's standard 101. Like, if you want to get someone, go for the heart. It's all about the heart. It's all about the heart. Unless someone doesn't have the heart directly in them and it's spread out anywhere. That would be actually pretty hilarious if the way Asa took fragments of his heart was literally by stripping his heart out of his body. That would be pretty funny, and I would honestly laugh if I actually call that. That's something that might actually happen. I'm serious. Like, Tayo might actually go and strike that, because you see it later on in the chapter where Tayo tries to attack Asa and his body just like disintegrates around him. So it wouldn't surprise me if Asa's heart has literally been taken out of his body, because he's essentially nigh immortal. Essentially, now you can kill him, but it's going to take incredible difficulty, and we have seen the chinks in his armor. But aside from that, he is basically an immortal being. He's over 300 years old, for Pete's sake. But anyway, so yeah, the main bit here is like, you attack the heart, you attack basically the blood of the Simone blood of the Yozakura family. That's the source of the Yozakura strength, and that is their greatest weakness. Yeah, which makes sense. Like, the blood of the Yozakura is also their greatest weakness as well, because if you strike at that, then it can basically rupture the entire system, and therefore rupture essentially the bloodline of the Yozakuras. So essentially Naruto says, okay, you need to go on the offensive, Tayo. That heart of Asa is his weakness, so go at it with every trick he can, because Asa is going to do everything in his power to protect it out. And we actually do see that, like I said, as Tayo goes to strike at Asa, he uses some sort of ability. I'm assuming he's using Fruit, because we see later on that he can use the abilities of several of the Yozakuras that are still alive. So, and we've also seen Mozo use Nanano's blooming ability. So this probably makes sense that he's using Frutiba's magnesium ability right here, as he just basically shatters his body away. Or it could very well be the dreaming ability, or maybe even Creature's ability, because we do see him later on in the chapter use Void. Or spoilers for a chapter that's been out for nearly a week. Yeah, he uses Void later on in the chapter, so it probably wouldn't surprise me if he's using Void right here to basically escape from Tao's attack, as we just see it just pass right through, as we cut more to the flashback of Shinzo being like, no, it's too risky, and Shion even agrees with that. I'm against it too, but it makes logical sense, so I have got conflicting abilities right here. So and we have Nanano and Keigo basically saying like, look, I'm going to respect Tao's request. Yeah, it's risky, but he's the only chance we have at this moment to get get a victory against Asa. As we see more of the fight, where we have Asa just raising his arm, we see blackness coming around him, which is more than likely Void being activated. As we have Fruitspur, as we get Fruitspur's take on the situation, as she says, "I guess if I must, I will improve. You can be stubborn, surprisingly stubborn whenever you feel like it. But promise us one thing, Tile. When the time is to go home, we'll all go home together." As we see Tile push Asa back into the room, where we actually see Momo again. Yeah, we see Momo in the room, still in his tanker after the ending of his fight with Koricho. Basically, from the point where Asa was introduced, where Asa took him away and done basically whatever he's done to Momo in the last 5 years. Like, Momo's mind is probably screwed at this point, but it makes sense that this is how the blooming of dreams is being done and being encompassed by the behemoth, that Momo would actually be here. So as Tile goes into this, pushes Asa back into this room with Momo in, he's able to see Momo. She's like, "Oh, Momo's right here. Okay, I've got to show him that I am ready, I am prepared to take down Asa right now." As we see him bringing out the bullets and loading it, and Asa's there and I feel like this is probably one of the moments where you can actually tell what Asa is thinking right now. Oh shit, if he fires that bullet at me, I am screwed right now. If that strikes my heart, then it's game over for me. So I've got to do everything I can now to get that bullet away from him. As we see Asa, and it's nice to actually see Asa starting to put up a fight against Tile, where it's basically like he knows that if he doesn't take out this bullet, he is screwed. And Tile wouldn't hesitate to be like, you have attacked my family, you have attacked everyone, you basically have turned my life. While I'm grateful that my life has changed for the better because of being interacting with the Yozakura, the fact that you're in it and you're doing all these horrible things, yeah, you've got to go, and I'm going to waste no time in just shooting you and getting rid of you forever from this family. But yeah, as we see, Asa is basically using every trick in the book to stop Tile from activating this bullet and targeting him. As we see Void start to encompass Tile, as Asa congratulates him and saying, "Despite being born an average human, you surpass numerous challenges, training both your body and mind to admirable degree. That truly is praiseworthy." And yeah, you see like the evolved form of Koricho's blooming just encompassing all of Tile, and Asu's just like, "Oh, you recognize this? You should, because this is so familiar to you that it's almost like it's Koricho's blooming. Your beloved brother-in-law's blooming Void. Abinis." Okay, this word I cannot pronounce. That's at the beginning of page 17. Abianius may not be able to fully stop your true spring blooming's power, but this one ought to cancel it. Cancel it out quite neatly. So he's basically, okay, I can't use this Void ability to fully stop your true spring blooming, but it can certainly cancel it. It can certainly cancel it out, which might explain how Asa was able to cancel out Koricho's voiding in the first place. So because we see Void is in bold capitals, and we also see for Abiensen. So I am assuming that that's the ability that Asa used against Void in the first place when he first showed up, which, hey, would make perfect sense. Like, it's able to stop bloomings, and it was able to stop Koricho's blooming. So I'm guessing that's what it was, although I could be incredibly wrong in that regard. So anyway, he uses this ability to cancel out Tile at this point and encompass him, basically capturing him and stopping him in his tracks, as he goes on and says, "Of all the Yozakuras across history, your generation has shown the most promise. You overcame my bloomings, nullified my 4 children, and even closed in upon the source of my life. Surely you believe that everything has progressed according to your plans so far, Tile. However, this has all gone according to my plan, so all of this is exactly as planned." Which, hey, Asa versus Aizen, we've got Bleach Core 3 coming out. Who would win in a fight? against Asa and Aizen because of just the whole plan. Oh, this all went according to our plans. Everything went exactly as planned, and I don't want that old cliche of just like, oh, Aizen will win because he's a Shinigami and Asa wouldn't be able to. No, I feel like Asa would be able to detect Aizen if he really, really, really wanted to. So I want to take out the fact that Aizen is a Shinigami on a level playing field where they both can interact with each other. Who would win, Asa or Aizen? That would be a fight that I would definitely like to see in Death Battle. And like I said, I don't want it to be like, oh, Aizen would win because Shinigami Asa wouldn't be able to detect his reaction, wouldn't be able to perceive him. No. Asa is a smart guy. He's a doctor, so he'd be able to detect when something is coming after him. But hey, give Asa credit. He, despite him being like a horrible, despicable, unredeemable character, still one of the best villains in the series. And showcase it right here, where he's like, Tile, I have witnessed your power, and you are I can say this with assurance, without any doubt in my mind, that you are worthy of being a Yozakura. So the fact that the main villain is saying that to the main character, that you are worthy of having this power, like, hey, gotta give him credit on that front. And Tile at this point starts to lose himself in void before we have Momo saying, "Be aggressive enough, and you'll bait Asa to attack." It's exactly what we want, but this will be the most critical stage. So it's basically saying, like, okay, you've got to let Asa attack you because this is the only way we can actually get the upper hand on him. Bait him in, lure him in, and then that's when we've got to strike at that point. But we've only got one shot at it, and if all else fails, then we don't know what we'll do in this situation. Before we cut back to the ending of the flashback where Creature says, alright, it's decided then. Now then, let's carry out this plan. As everyone is just like completely worried about Tile at this point. They're just saying, I'm still, as Naro says, okay, I'm still uneasy about it, but it's the most logical course in this situation. Tile is the only one that can actively go against Asa and his blooming. So it's the only shot we've got at this point. We've got to take our chance with it. So hands in all together now. Let's all work together and go and kick Asa's butt. As we see everyone just giving the fist up, and Kengo's just like, yeah, you're still going to get punched in the face, Karicho. Wait, what? Oh, why? Why does everyone have to attack me here? Before we have them saying, once it's all taken care of, let's go and get some ramen our place behind the mansion. Which, hey, end the series, them all eating ramen as one big happy family. I'll be all down for that. But Musume is still incredibly worried about how this is actually going to play out. And she's just like, hey, Tile, do you have a minute where I can talk with you in private? And Karicho, you see like him off to the side being like, yeah, I know exactly what's going on here. I don't like this, but maybe I should let this slide just this once, because it's Tile, it's Musume being like, hey, I'm worried about you. I need to talk to you, and I need to make sure you're not it's probably going to be a case of like, can I just kiss you at least once before all this is done, because you may die and I may not get a chance to kiss you again. So can we please do that? That's probably what's going to happen. So yeah, this is where we end the chapter. And like I said, half the chapter was the fight. Well, I won't say half. Yeah, half the chapter was the fight, and half the chapter was the flashback of them just discussing the plan of how they're going to take down Asa. Now, where do we go from here? Because Asa has enveloped Tile, but as Momo says, this was all part of their plan. But maybe but Asa said this was all part of his plan. So was he expecting them to be like, okay, you're gonna lure me in, you're gonna bait me, but I'm gonna have one up on you guys as well. So was that the case? Like, it's just a battle of 4D chess going on here of like which side is going to get the upper hand, because Asa seems to know all their plans and Tile seems to be like, okay, we know all your plans, and Momo seems to know like all the plans that are going to go on here. So it's kind of confusing, like who has the upper hand, like who knows more, which side knows more than the other, and it seems to be evenly matched at this point. So it could go anyway, and I'm still leaning towards Asa winning this first round before the Yozakuras win the war against him. Like I said, if we end this series without finding out what Karicho and Fruitabird's true spring bloomings are, I'm going to be annoyed. And also, they've built up the twins as being like a key to taking down Asa as well. So it would just be weird if we don't get Asa versus everyone, where everyone pulls out all the stops against them. And yeah, the twins can get like the punching that's like the key to taking down Asa, and then Tao gets the final strike along with Koichiro. I feel like that is more than worthy of them having it, of them being like, okay, yeah, we were crucial in taking down Asa, but we weren't the ones to actually give the final blow. That honor belongs to our dad and our uncle. I'd be perfectly fine with that, and I feel like a lot of the fans would be perfectly fine with that. But to end the series with them just not doing anything, and Koichiro and Futsuba's truth being booed, not being revealed, I think a lot of fans, myself included, would be a little bit peeved off by that. But that's something we'll just have to wait and see. So anyway, guys, what did you think of this chapter? Let me know. Like, subscribe, comment, all that jazz. And this will be Lasherluke signing off. Later, guys.